Hi, guys. Welcome to the Simple Doesn't Mean Easy podcast. We are here twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, working at simplifying things in our lives, one day at a time, one simple step at a time. I'm your host, Michelle Visser, and today's episode is about a just today, as I'm recording this, just released new list of the Dirty Dozen. Things that you're supposed to try to only buy organic if you're able. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and we're going to talk very specifically about some of the items on this list. And I'm going to give you tips about if you want to grow them yourself, some things you might want to know. That's what we're talking about today. Before we start this episode, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors. This sponsor has made it so when I go to the grocery store, it's a whole different experience. There are so many things that I no longer rely on my local grocery store for because I have found a way to source these ingredients or these snacks or this produce in a much better way. I love this independent food supplier who ships what I need to a drop near me when I order it. And everything that I get from them, I know has gone through a lot of testing and a lot of just evaluation to make sure that these ingredients are what they say they are. We're talking zero GMOs. We're talking truly organic when it says so. We're talking no hidden ingredients. It's a great resource. This independent food supplier is Azure Standard. And if you would like to place your first order of $100 or more, they have a gift for you. Use code solely rested and save 15% off your entire order. No cap, guys. So go place that order, try a lot of great things, and save 15% with code SOLEYRESTED. Go to solelyrested.com/Azure, AZURE, to find out lots more. Now, you might have noticed right in the beginning, I mean, maybe you didn't because it really isn't that big of a deal, but we are doing our mini episodes on Wednesdays now. So we've moved those to midweek instead of the end of the week. I think maybe that's where they're going to stay. We'll see how this goes. But for now, that's the plan. I hope you can join me for those little 5-minute zero ad episodes every Wednesday. So I'm not going to go into detail today about this list, the source of it, who puts it together, all of that. There's so much more we could talk about. But since this just came out today and I was able to slip in a episode this week, often I'm telling you guys, oh, I recorded this like a month or two ago. Well, sometimes I'm able to just record and then release. So I could do that this week. And instead of preparing some notes and doing some research and telling you more details about the environmental working group, who is the group that puts this list together, instead of all that, I thought, you know what? Let's just talk about the top 3 items on the list and also all the items that I have grown myself or do currently grow myself and some tips I can give you because the best way to ensure something is organic or to ensure it's really high quality food is, of course, to grow it yourself, right? So that's where this episode is headed. If you'd like to know more about the source of this list and the environmental working group and all of that good stuff, because there's a lot we could talk about, let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram or um, wherever it's easiest for you. I was going to say via email if you get my emails, which I hope you do. Just reply to any one of those and let me know if this is a topic you'd like to see us dive into some more. Okay, so the list is compiled, like I said, from or by the Environmental Working Group, and they use the latest government testing data on non organic produce. They're actually abbreviated EWG, which is probably the way that you will see them if you see them in the news this week. They're a health advocacy organization. My tongue got twisted around that. That has produced an annual report since 2004. So I'm not really quick at math, but I think that's 21 years now they've been doing this, right? A couple decades. And they do emphasize that they are not saying don't eat these 12 fruits and vegetables, but instead they're emphasizing how if you're going to only be able to choose certain items that you can buy organically, that these are the top 12 you should consider buying organically first and foremost. They decide that by the different testing they do and the amount of pesticides that they find on these dozen varieties of food. So, number one on the list, top one, I actually was just um, weeding around my line of spinach in the garden this morning. That is number one on the list, spinach. And it's a nutritional powerhouse, absolutely, because it is number one on the Dirty Dozen list. Please, please, please do not avoid spinach. It's rich in vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. It gives us so many health benefits. Some people say it's the number one superfood in the world for that reason. And it's particularly known for improving eye health, reducing oxidative stress, which of course is going to help prevent cancer. And it helps overall with cardiovascular health. It's just a great food. So, if you're able to grow it yourself, that is ideal. I know it definitely depends on where you live in the country or around the world, what your weather is like in the heat of the summer, if you're going to be able to grow spinach in warmer weather or in your summer season. But if not, if you have a very hot summer, spinach does not like that. It definitely likes colder weather. It does pretty well throughout the summer here in New England. But if not, then consider planting it extremely early, as soon as your ground defrosts wherever you live. Maybe you live in an area that the ground doesn't even freeze. So get it in the ground first thing, whenever your garden season is. And then plan on planting a second crop for your fall or your second garden later on. So here in New England, though, I will plant it first thing when I'm planting my lettuce. And many years it has made it through the summer, depending on how hot and dry it is. Sometimes it just doesn't survive. I do think one great tip that I will give you is to plant it among peppers. If you also grow peppers, it's a great companion plant. And while I do have a row or two of just spinach, I always plant it among the peppers too. And there have been years that my rows of just spinach have not survived, but the ones that I planted in between the peppers always hold on because they have the shade from the pepper plant, and that helps a lot if it does get extremely hot and dry. Another thing I will tell you is, at least from my experience, aphids love spinach. So don't panic. Let me tell you the signs that it has an aphid problem and then tell you what to do with it. If you notice a lot of ants in your garden, follow them to the source. See where they're mostly interested in congregating in your vegetable garden. If they're around your spinach plants, then they are doing something called ant farming on your spinach leaves. If you look closely, turn the leaves over, investigate it, you will see small aphids, either the actual bugs or a whole bunch of aphid eggs. And that is where the ants are all having a party. They are just circled around it and totally loving life because the aphids produce like a sticky, sweet, I don't know what I want to call it, juice that the ants love. So they do everything they can to encourage those aphids and help the aphids. So that's why it's called farming. So they can then enjoy the abundance of this delicious, gooey sweetness that the aphids create. So it's great for the ants. They love aphids, but it is very bad for your spinach plants. But take heart. It's actually a very easy solution. Whenever you see this happening, get the garden hose and use a spray, an immediate moderate setting, and simply hose off your spinach. Turn the leaves over or get your hose down underneath them. Make sure you get all the surfaces, but your water, your stream of water is going to knock off the aphids and the eggs, and it's going to lead to their demise. And your ants are going to go away when the aphids aren't there anymore. So it's a pretty easy solution. Now, having said that, I will tell you, when you're harvesting your spinach, which by the way can be daily, you can go out there and take leaves off every day all through the growing season. You do want to check for bugs and aphids before you're eating it. I'm not really concerned personally about eating a bug or two, which might sound gross or weird, but knowing that my plants are grown totally organically is much more important to me. And I also am just not really crazy about getting out the salad spinner and washing every leaf. So I really love, just plucking off some leaves, throwing them in a bowl and having my salad for dinner. And I've never looked in my bowl and seen a bug. I'm not surprised why not. I mean, I guess maybe that'll happen someday. But all that to say, I don't go crazy about feeling like I have to wash them unless I've seen this problem with ants and aphids recently. Then I do absolutely wash my leaves because I don't want a gooey, sticky mess of aphid eggs in my salad for sure. Um, but as a gardener, you're aware of your different plants, you stay on top of it. You look under the leaves often when you're in the garden, and you know which ones you really should be washing and checking closely. So, as far as how to preserve it, I have a great tip for you. And this is going to be the same for all the top three, honestly. Dehydrating. I love dehydrating my spinach because when you turn it into a dehydrated powder, it is shelf stable. It takes up very little space. It's very lightweight, and it's so easy to then add to your vegetables, your eggs, even your potatoes, your casseroles. You can put spinach in everything. And if you do it in a small enough quantity, then nobody's even going to know it's there. It doesn't affect your taste at all, but you're adding these antioxidants and the other great health benefits that come along with spinach to everything you're making, pretty much. So it's a win win win. How do you do it? You wash the leaves, you line up the leaves on your dehydrator tray, turn the dehydrator to 125, and then let it go overnight. Typically, overnight is enough if it's a long night, if you know what I mean, if I'm starting it at dinner time and taking it out after breakfast the next day. But depending on the variety of spinach, the leaves can be pretty leathery and tougher, and it could take up to 24 hours or even a little more, but you'll know. Check it and you'll know when they're crisp and dry. And when they're easy to just crush in your hands, then they're done. Throw them in a blender or food processor and process that to a very fine powder. Then put the powder in a clean, dry jar that you have a sealed lid and put it in a cool, dark place. It will keep for years, and you have this nutritional powerhouse at your disposal right there. Pretty much the next two items, actually, everything I just told you is pretty much the same for dehydrating them. So I don't think I'm going to go through that for the strawberries and the kale, but just know that it's the same process. And I should tell you, if you want to go to soullyrested.com slash, oh, you know what? I'm going to look it up. I think it's slash dry. Let me see. I don't want to tell you the wrong place to go. Nope, it's not dry. Let's see. It must be dehydrate. You can find out about Dehydrating Academy, and yes, soullyrested.com slash dehydrate, DEHYDRATE. Find out about Dehydrating Academy, where I put all the tips and tricks, so much good, valuable information to make this your family's absolute favorite way to enjoy preserved foods. I'm not a canner. I hate canning. I'll just admit it. I don't like canning, but I love dehydrating. So simple, so easy, and the results are just so good. And there's so many ways to use what you dehydrate. So all of that I packed into this masterclass. Please go check it out if you want to know more. It's a really fabulous resource. Soullyrested.com slash dehydrate and use code podcast to save big. Oh, and one more thing. If you love a good cup of coffee, you really want to check out another sponsor. Go to jporganiccoffee.com. It stands for Java Planet. Use my code solely rested. You can even stack my code on top of their amazing bulk prices. This coffee is organic, it is mold free, it is grown in the shade, which means it is low in acid, and it is so much better for your gut health, even your dental health. And because it's grown in the shade, it's never bitter. I personally love the Guatemala, but they have so many wonderful options to choose from. You really need to try it out. jporganiccoffee.com. Use code solely rested, SOULYRESTED. Also, on a side note, don't miss this. If you are a person who loves to have a delicious, wholesome, nutritious drink in your hand, if you're a person who is loving if you can make a copycat of some of the junkie drinks that you like to be drinking, but you choose to skip because they're loaded with artificial colors and flavors and all that stuff. I have something for you. Go to solelyrested.com/summer, SUMMER, and I am sharing some of the best summer drinks that you can make for yourself and for your family. You're gonna love every one of them. Go to solelyrested.com/summer. Okay. Number 2 on the Dirty Dozen list is strawberries. Strawberries offer so many health benefits. Again, this is the same I'm going to tell you for everything on this list. Do not think you should avoid eating these foods. They are so good for us. Just try to find them organically or grow them yourself. But strawberries, they are really rich in nutrients, antioxidants. They're an excellent source of vitamin C. People don't often think of that, and they offer folate and fiber. They're great for fiber. All of those things boost our immunity and support our blood sugar control, which helps with weight loss. They even aid in healing and helping our body heal, and they help protect us against things like diabetes and heart disease. Strawberries are great. I love them. They make delicious pies. Um, they're so good on just a tossed salad. Actually, the first two things on this list, spinach and strawberries, add some walnuts and some oil and vinegar, and oh my word, it's my favorite salad. So definitely eat your strawberries. The only thing different about dehydrating them would be I would tell you to clean the strawberries and then toss them in your food processor. Better yet, your blender. It's going to do a better job. And the great thing is you can leave the top on. Leave the green leaves, the top, all of it. Just toss it in your blender. Trust me, it makes it so much easier, and there's no reason not to. Puree that and then line your dehydrator trays with your puree. You will need a special liner for your tray, and some dehydrators you simply can't do this. It does depend on your model, but I didn't think I'd be able to do it until I actually did it. It's amazing how the puree does stay on the tray and it dehydrates wonderfully. What you get when you're done, you peel off like a fruit roll up, and you can be done at that stage. That can be how you enjoy your strawberries. If your kids like fruit roll ups, make these for them every spring. They will love you. But you can take those fruit roll up sheets and put them through your blender again into a fine powder and then store them away, like I said, with the spinach. And you can use it to flavor your yogurt. You could put it on your oatmeal in the mornings. You can put it on any cereal. You can use it to make a beautiful, tasty icing for your cupcakes. So many things, guys. So many things. However, you want to use strawberries, you could sprinkle some powder on there too. So, highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite things to dehydrate, actually. Third on the list. So those are number 1 and number 2 in order of what is supposed to be the heaviest in pesticides according to the testing they did. The third item down is kale. A lot of people would be like, well, that's not a problem. I don't really need kale. Like, I don't think it's a favorite for many people. And I get it. The leaves are leathery. It's tough. Like, I would never just pick a kale leaf from my garden and start chewing on it because that's not why I grow it. Um, I grow dinosaur kale, which gets the really big leaves. And I chose that because when you dehydrate those big leaves, you get a nice size alternative to a potato chip. They're kale chips. But even more than that, I really love making my kale powder because it's almost tasteless. I add it to everything like the spinach, and it's just so good. Kale is packed with nutrients and beneficial compounds. It's a good source of vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants. And of course, the antioxidants, all that stuff contributes to our overall health and well being. It also supports eye health, like spinach does, and our immune functions, heart health. These are all good for that, all these foods. And it can potentially prevent cancer, as they all can. And it's low in calories and very high in fiber. And that's why it's really great for helping with weight management too. So give me all the kale powder, guys. I love adding kale to so many dishes, vegetables, potatoes, eggs. I never make a scrambled egg that I'm not adding some kale powder. So it's good, good stuff. Um, a few other things on the list that I grow. There were lots more things. In fact, I guess I could pull up the list and read you the items on the list. Do I have that handy here? I looked over it earlier, but I didn't think about having them in front of me. Well, I thought I had it right here. Now I'm scrolling through all my tabs. If you guys could see my tabs. Are you like me? I always have way too many tabs open on my computer. It's really bad. Okay, here it is, I think. The Dirty Dozen list. All right. Spinach, strawberries, and then they combine number 3, kale, collards, and mustard greens. Number 4, grapes. 5 is peaches. 6, cherries. 7, nectarines. 8, pears. 9, apples. 10, blackberries. 11, blueberries. And 12, potatoes. It's those last 2, blueberries and potatoes, that I want to end this episode talking about, because those are the other 2 items that I grow. So I've grown spinach and kale for many years. Usually they're side by side in my garden in an area that it has a little bit of shade or is not quite as hot as maybe some of the other areas, because they do both like colder temperatures. And the strawberries, I'm so excited. It's been 2 years in the making now. And I estimate 2 more years and I will have a legit full grown strawberry patch. And it makes me so happy. I have loved strawberries since I was a kid. My favorite, well, actually, the only pie that I like, honestly, is strawberry pie. Mom would make me strawberry pie every year around my birthday because she knew how much I loved it. And like I said, I really don't like pie, but strawberry pie, oh my word, it's my Achilles heel. It's my weakness. I love it. Um, so I've, since we first owned a home, I have wanted a strawberry patch, and I've tried it a few different times. In our first home, I actually did have a strawberry patch, but it went so uncontrollable crazy so quickly, and I never tried to do any sort of order or rows or do anything with the babies when it would send them out. I just let it go crazy. So it wasn't even enjoyable to try and pick it, and it was almost impossible to try and weed it. So that was my first experiment with trying a strawberry patch. We moved from there. I wonder if the person after me made any headway with getting a ruly or a controlled strawberry patch. I don't know. Never did go back and see that strawberry patch. And then our second home, I didn't even try. We just didn't have the room or a place for it. Now in our third home, since we've been married, I attempted strawberry patches twice right after we moved and just didn't get anywhere with them. Kept moving those poor berries again and again to different places for different reasons. But finally, last year, we intentionally turned over an area for a strawberry patch, and I started my rows. I've been using the rest of the garden area for other vegetables until my strawberries have become prolific enough that I have enough babies that I have filled up that whole garden with rows. Like I said, I think a few more years I'm going to be there. But for now, I'm just adding one more row at a time with new babies that the plants send out. but I'm super happy with these strawberries. Love the variety that we chose. Love the berries. So excited that one day I'm going to be that grandma that my grandkids can come picking strawberries at her strawberry patch. Anyway, so those are the three things that I always grow. Blueberries, I've actually always grown as well, but I have not had a lot of success with them. Actually, in a previous mini One Simple Thing episode, we talked about my blueberries, and I did a video that shared more about those blueberries. I'll link that in the show notes. Looking for a pen to write a note and remind myself to do that. Okay, because I don't want to forget to share that with you in case you missed it. So, as I explained in that episode, I had bad soil. It wasn't what my blueberries needed. So I did a soil test. I found a better area and I've moved them. So far, so good. But that was just, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I can't tell you the final outcome yet. But I am hoping within a few years that the totals, it's now 6 blueberry bushes that I have, will be a beautiful blueberry patch that will be giving me lots of wonderful berries. Until then, I go to a nearby blueberry orchard and I pick every blueberry season there. So, but my advice with blueberries would be 2 things if you want to grow them. Always do a soil test first. I went through almost a decade of not understanding the problems I was having, and all I had to do was test my soil in the beginning, and I would have been able to plant them in a place with the right soil that they need. They need a very high acid, very acidic soil to do well. And one way to improve the acidic soil, if you need to improve that acid, is with pine needles, which we have a lot of. So I can use them as mulch around my blueberries, and that helps. But I found a place that has a good acidic level of soil, a good amount of sunshine, and I've transplanted them. It's great to turn up the grass around your patch and maybe make it like a raised bed area or get a good border around it, and then cover it with a netting to protect your berries from the birds. Some people are like, well, there's plenty for me and the birds. Well, maybe. But from my experience, once the birds discover the blueberries are there, they will wipe them clean. If all you have is 6 blueberry bushes, they're going to be cleaned out before you ever get to the berries. So I do highly recommend good soil and covering them with a net. To help you with the soil, there is an amazing soil amendment that I've been using, and I will link that and the soil test kit also in the show notes and give you discount codes so you can grab those and definitely save as well. I'm making myself another note: soil test kit and the amendment. Okay. The last thing is potatoes. I have not had great success, but I will say a couple of years ago was my best year ever of growing potatoes, and I was pleased with the final yield compared to what I started with. Tips I will give you is number one, you absolutely can. It's all I've done, actually. Absolutely can. No, no, the first 2 years we went and bought, there's a name for them, the actual potatoes that are supposed to be starter potatoes. Maybe that's what they're called. But my last 2 attempts, I totally just used old potatoes that I had in my root cellar that had gotten all the roots coming out of the eyes. You can cut those potatoes into pieces. I wouldn't go smaller than maybe a third of the potato. Leave a lot of the eyes on each piece, and you can bury that for your potato plant. The other thing I would tell you is, if at all possible, and this is where my problem comes in because it's not really possible for me, if at all possible, plant your potatoes in an area that has no rocks. So if you have a raised bed or even like a really large diameter tall barrel that you could use, um, anything to load up with the dirt and avoid the rocks. Rocks are the nemesis to potatoes, and that has been my primary problem, is getting a good enough area without rocks. We live in the Granite State. My garden is loaded with rocks. For a decade, I've been removing rocks, and I think I have more than when I started. So those are my tips for potatoes. But those are the 5 items on the Dirty Dozen list that I personally have grown and I love preserving. And I thought I would share with you some details about those 5 items since that list just came out today. Like I said, I saw it just actually an hour or two ago. It came across my Instagram and I went, wow. I didn't do research into this. I have no idea why they are so late in the year putting this out. If that's usually the case, I really am not sure. I don't remember. So, anyway, there you have it. I hope that was encouraging to you, and I hope it was helpful. If there's one of those plants you've thought about maybe growing, give it a try, and you're not going to regret it. So, that is it for today. Thanks for listening, friends. And remember, it is easy to forget how blessed we are to live this life. So enjoy the simple, everyday efforts. It's not easy, but it is a good life.